Hey Cowboys Nation, the buzz around Dallas right now is electric, and for good reason. As we edge closer to the 2026 NFL Draft, the anticipation is building, and every decision, every mock draft, and every rumor is under a microscope. Fans are eager to see how the front office will shape the future of America's team. Especially after last season's roller coaster of highs and lows. The conversation isn't just about the picks themselves, it's about the strategy, the fit, and the potential for each player to make an immediate impact on the field. There's a lot to unpack. And we're diving in deep to make sense of what the Cowboys might be thinking with their selections, and how it could reshape the roster for years to come. One of the first things that caught everyone's attention was Daniel Jeremiah's early mock draft. And as always, he took a unique approach that sparked plenty of discussion. Jeremiah's mock has the Cowboys at pick 12, and the decision there has already raised eyebrows across the fan base. While some of the top prospects, like Fernando Mendoza and Arl Reese, are off the board early, the Cowboys slot seemed like the perfect opportunity to address critical needs, but the options were already narrowing fast. The early part of the first round has been dominated by tackles and quarterbacks, leaving other positions, like receivers, surprisingly untouched in the top 12 for Dallas. This sets up a scenario where strategic thinking becomes crucial. Do you trade down to accumulate more picks, or do you take the best player available? Even if it doesn't perfectly align with immediate needs, the conversation is already heating up, and fans are split on which path the team should take. When Jeremiah revealed Colton Hood as the selection at 12, it was met with mixed reactions. Hood, a cornerback out of Tennessee, brings size, skill, and the potential to start right away, which is exactly what the Cowboys need in their secondary. He's been productive, breaking up numerous passes and showing consistency in coverage, though there's still room for growth and development. Many analysts see him as a late first-round talent, someone who fits the Cowboys' current defensive scheme and could become a plug-and-play contributor immediately. At the same time, the pick also highlights a recurring theme, the challenge of balancing long-term potential with immediate impact. Hood's selection isn't just about filling a roster spot, it's about addressing a gap in the secondary while also navigating a draft class that's top-heavy with tackles and quarterbacks. Fans are weighing in, debating whether Hood is the right choice or if other defensive or offensive options might have provided a more explosive impact. The discussion becomes even more interesting when looking at the later picks. Like Kendrick Falk at 20, Falk is an edge rusher out of Auburn, and his evaluation is nuanced. He has great size and athleticism, and there's no question about his potential upside, but production has been inconsistent. Last season, he didn't rack up the same sack numbers or pressures that had made him a potential top 15 prospect the year before. On film, though, it's clear he draws attention from blockers, freeing up teammates to make plays, which is a skill that doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, but is incredibly valuable to a defense. The Cowboys face a critical decision here. Do they gamble on a player with high ceiling, but some risk? Or do they prioritize players with more immediate production? It's a balancing act that will define how the front office approaches not just this draft, but their roster construction moving forward. The mock draft also sheds light on the broader draft landscape. Receivers, for instance, are still largely available at this stage, which complicates things for Dallas. The team has a clear need for dynamic playmakers in the passing game, yet in this scenario, none are taken early. That forces a strategic question. If the Cowboys don't select a receiver in the top picks, how do they ensure they don't miss out on elite talent later? Trading down becomes an option, but it's easier said than done. The draft is fluid, and the timing of other teams' decisions plays a massive role in what is realistically achievable. Fans are left imagining scenarios where their ideal targets could slip away, and the pressure to make the right pick intensifies. Every selection, every second of decision-making carries weight, because it could shape the team for the next decade. One of the more intriguing aspects of this early analysis is the focus on fit and versatility. Hood, Falk, and other top prospects bring different skill sets to the table, and the Cowboys need to evaluate how these skills translate to their scheme. Hood's ability to contribute immediately in coverage, combined with his size and athleticism, makes him an appealing option for a secondary that has room for growth. Falk's versatility as an edge rusher who can drop into coverage or play inside adds a different dimension, but also introduces risk given his production inconsistency. These are the nuances that turn mock drafts from simple predictions into real debates. fans and analysts alike are scrutinizing film, considering metrics, and imagining how each player's strengths and weaknesses align with the Cowboys' current roster and long-term strategy. It's also impossible to ignore the psychological and emotional side of the draft. Cowboys fans are passionate, and expectations are sky-high. The team has a history of high-stakes decision-making, and each draft brings a renewed sense of hope and anxiety. The early mock by Jeremiah is just a teaser, but it already highlights potential challenges and sparks conversations that will continue until draft night. It forces fans to think critically. Are the Cowboys building for today, tomorrow, or a combination of both? How do individual selections like Hood or Falk impact the broader team dynamic? What moves might the front office make to maximize value in this unpredictable draft class? These questions dominate social media feeds, fan forums, and casual conversations alike, creating an atmosphere of speculation, excitement, and anticipation. What makes this period so compelling is that it's about more than just the players. It's about strategy, vision, and identity. The Cowboys are at a crossroads where each choice sends a signal about the team's priorities. Hood's size and immediate readiness suggest a focus on strengthening the secondary and ensuring defensive stability. Falk's potential ceiling reflects a willingness to take calculated risks on high-upside players who could become cornerstone contributors. Meanwhile, the lack of early receiver selections in the mock underscores the importance of flexibility and contingency planning. This delicate balancing act between immediate needs and long-term development is what makes the draft so fascinating for fans, analysts, and casual observers alike. Every mock, every prediction, and every discussion adds layers to the story of how the Cowboys will evolve in the coming years. Fans are already debating trade-down scenarios, evaluating whether the Cowboys should move back to accumulate more picks or stay put and select the best players available. The tension between potential and production, upside and certainty, plays out with every selection, and the mock draft acts as a snapshot of these dilemmas. Hood and Falk provide case studies in these trade-offs, demonstrating how front offices must weigh immediate contributions against long-term upside. Meanwhile, the absence of a top receiver highlights a recurring theme in a draft as deep and fluid as this. Timing and positioning are critical. A single pick can alter the trajectory of the entire draft for a team, impacting both current performance and future opportunities. The narrative of the Cowboys heading into this draft isn't just about talent evaluation. It's about understanding the complex interplay between roster construction, player potential, and strategic foresight. Hood's presence at 12, Falk at 20, and the broader landscape of the first round illustrate the delicate chess game that is the NFL draft. It's a reminder that each decision carries both immediate and far-reaching consequences, and the stakes are as high for front office personnel as they are for the fans who live and breathe every Cowboys play. The excitement, tension, and possibilities make this a thrilling time to be a part of Cowboys Nation, as the team navigates the unpredictable waters of the draft while aiming to build a team capable of competing at the highest level for years to come. As we continue breaking down the draft landscape for the Dallas Cowboys, the conversation naturally shifts to the mid to late first round, where opportunities to find game-changing players begin to expand. But the decisions become more nuanced. Teams that select early often take the most obvious needs, such as quarterbacks, tackles, or the top defensive prospects. By the time the Cowboys hit picks 12 and 20, the pool of elite, can't-miss talent has shifted, leaving front offices to make strategic choices based on both fit and upside. It's a period in the draft where preparation meets adaptability, and the ability to read the board in real time becomes just as important as scouting reports or combine numbers. For Dallas, the challenge lies in maximizing value while addressing the gaps that have persisted in the roster, particularly in the secondary, on the edge, and in the passing game. Colton Hood's selection at 12 sets the stage for the Cowboys' approach in the subsequent picks. Hood is a cornerback who offers immediate coverage skills, physicality, and intelligence in reading the field. While his ceiling might not scream superstar, his floor is solid, giving the Cowboys a dependable presence in the secondary from day one. Hood represents the type of player who not only fills a need, but also allows the coaching staff to develop complementary pieces around him without pressing him into a role he isn't ready to dominate. The strategy behind selecting a plug-and-play corner is straightforward: stabilize a critical unit and build a foundation for future growth. At the same time, Hood's presence underscores the risk-reward nature of mid-first-round selections, while he contributes immediately. The Cowboys also must remain vigilant in scouting and identifying higher upside prospects later in the draft to continue improving the team. By pick 20, the attention turns to Kendrick Falk, an edge rusher from Auburn. Falk represents a more complex evaluation scenario. His size and athleticism are undeniable, and his ability to influence games beyond personal statistics is a significant selling point. Film study reveals that his presence commands attention from blockers, which opens opportunities for linebackers and other defenders to make plays. However, his recent production has been inconsistent, and the question of translating potential into on-field dominance remains. This is where the Cowboys' decision-making process must balance potential versus immediate impact. Selecting a player like Falk at this stage is a calculated gamble. The upside could be transformative, but the risk of slower development or limited impact in the first season is real. Fans are often quick to react, but understanding the nuance behind such selections requires a deeper look into scheme fit, developmental trajectory, and coaching support. Beyond Hood and Falk, the mock draft highlights a number of interesting trends that the Cowboys must consider. The scarcity of receivers in the top 12 creates both opportunities and pressure. Wideouts who remain on the board in the mid-first round could be acquired without trading up, but the window is narrowing. The Cowboys face a strategic dilemma. Do they wait for a later round, potentially missing elite talent? Or do they prioritize other positions and trust the draft depth to provide impactful receivers in rounds 2 or 3? This tension between immediate needs and projected availability is what makes draft day such a fascinating chess match. Every pick, every moment of hesitation, and every trade proposal carries consequences that reverberate throughout the entire draft and the subsequent season. The secondary also remains a focal point for analysis. Colton Hood is just the start. The Cowboys may look to reinforce the defensive backfield with additional picks later in the first round or early in the second. Safety and cornerback prospects are critical for a team that wants to contend against the pass-heavy offenses in the league. Hood's immediate readiness is complemented by the potential for development in other young defensive backs, creating a multi-layered strategy that balances stability with long-term growth. The Cowboys' ability to identify versatile players who can contribute in multiple roles becomes a major advantage, particularly as the draft progresses and the quality of available talent shifts from surefire starters to developmental prospects with high ceilings. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The Dallas Cowboys could be on the brink of a storm, and all eyes are turning toward their quarterback, Dak Prescott. While Prescott has shown flashes of brilliance in the past, a growing chorus of analysts is raising concerns about his performance in high-stakes games. One recent breakdown of his stats paints a picture that might alarm even the most loyal Cowboys fans. In crucial matchups, Prescott's efficiency appears to drop sharply, raising questions about whether he can carry the team when it matters most. According to a leading analyst, the numbers are hard to ignore in games that truly test the Cowboys' playoff aspiration. Prescott's touchdown-to-interception ratio and completion percentages dipped more than expected. The analyst went as far as to warn that the QB could deliver the peanuts when under pressure, a colorful way of suggesting he might crumble at the worst possible moments. With a roster full of talent, Dallas could theoretically compete with anyone, but the quarterback position remains the ultimate linchpin. If Prescott falters, the team could struggle to close out tight contests against top-tier opponents. The whispers of a looming crisis in Dallas are growing louder. Fans and pundits alike are debating whether Prescott has the mental toughness to overcome this reputation. Some argue that his supporting cast should shield him from scrutiny, pointing to a strong offensive line and capable receiving corps. Others counter that no matter how talented the roster, a QB who falters under pressure will inevitably cost the team critical wins. Social media is buzzing with speculation, and insiders hint that front office discussions might already be exploring contingency plans should Prescott's struggles continue in marquee matchups. While some see this as mere overreaction, history has shown that quarterbacks with shaky big game resumes often face intense scrutiny, and the Cowboys' passionate fan base will not tolerate repeated disappointments as the season unfolds. Every snap Prescott takes will be analyzed under a microscope, and every misstep will fuel the narrative that he is ill-equipped for the spotlight. Whether this is a temporary slump or the beginning of a deeper crisis remains unclear. But one thing is certain, the pressure is mounting in Dallas, and all eyes are on their quarterback. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.